Can you hear? Sorry. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. We're gonna wait just a minute or two. Hold on. Alright, cool. Yeah, we're gonna wait just a minute or two for some people to find it. I don't know why YouTube won't let me schedule these things in advance. I used to be able to do it, and then one day I just couldn't anymore. Never been able to get a straight answer out of them for some reason. I don't know. It doesn't work. Super annoying. Don't get me started. Okay, we're just, so, I posted it. Posted the notice on Twitter. Now we're just gonna wait a little bit for people to find it, and then we'll get started. Sorry about the short notice for this. I was intending to do like a full review of it, like a full review video, but I just didn't have enough time. The Thor review took longer than I was hoping to get out, a lot longer actually. And then I wasn't going to have enough time before I had to get back to Ms. Marvel, so I figured a stream would suffice. I gotta tell you, I hate this business of shows dropping new episodes on Wednesday. It does not fit with my schedule at all. First it was Ms. Marvel, Batwoman, excuse me. Batwoman on Sunday worked perfectly, because then I had several days where nothing going on to make that video, and then, you know, a new movie would drop on Thursday, or a new show would drop on Friday, and it all worked. Now, new episodes drop on Wednesday, and it's like I'm in a mad hurry to get that done, and then I gotta go see a movie on Thursday, and then I'm kind of doing like two things at once, and then everything's late. I hate it. I hate it. And we have a super chat. Hold on. CB750, thank you for the $10. That's a big one. Thank you very much. Wow. So Soldier Boy had to be taken out because he was too toxically masculine. Yeah, we're gonna spoil the whole season, by the way. So there's your spoiler warning for The Boys season 3. Maybe, I guess. I didn't really see it that way. I looked at it more like he had to be taken out because he was just a danger to everybody. I mean, there's more than one way to interpret it, I guess. I mean, if you want to go that way, you can. One thing I like about the show is that they try not to put too fine a point on stuff like that, usually. Maybe not always, and we'll get to that in the review. But no, he was just too dangerous to keep around. For a lot of reasons. And he could always come back, because he's not, I would be surprised if we never saw Soldier Boy again. Be very surprised. Alright. Okay, let's get this thing started. I don't want to go too late with this, because I need to at least try to go to bed early tonight, because I've got a very full day tomorrow. Got a lot of stuff I need to do. And also, there's the Ms. Marvel finale, which, yay, I guess. Wow, there is no buzz for that at all. I mean, people are still buzzing about The Boys, about Stranger Things. I don't hear anything about Ms. Marvel. That thing has completely gone under the radar. I'm almost regretting my decision to do like full reviews of it. Like, I could have blown this off on weekly streams, no problem, because there's just not that much to say. Whatever. Wow, we got a bunch of super chats. Wow, thank you. Okay, if you guys are new here, the way this usually works is, you know what? Screw it. We got these super chats here. Okay, we got 2 more super chats. I will do those, and then we'll do the rest at the end. Because the way this works is I do the review, and then we do super chats afterward. But, I mean, you guys started coming in with these before I even got started, so let's just do these now. Road Breach with $5. Thank you very much. Have you seen Transformers Botbots? Botbots? I don't even know what that is. So I guess not. The last Transformers media I saw were those movies that Netflix put out. I watched the first one. Wasn't really my thing. I mean, they sucked all the fun out of it. It was like a kind of like a post-apocalyptic Transformers. I wasn't really a big fan of the character designs or how they were they moved very slowly and stuff. It didn't even feel like there were many transformations actually going on in there. So I just wasn't a big fan of those. Those were the last ones I saw. Transformers Botbots, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. And Yellow Lantern with another $10 super chat. Thank you. Wow. It's very generous, guys. Thank you so much. I personally hoped Black Noir would have been a Homelander clone, but oh well. Spoilers for the comics. Yeah, I guess it was obvious by now that they were going a different way with Black Noir than the comics did. Kind of a shame, because that was a great twist in the comics. Boy, poor Black Noir. I'm torn. Excuse me. I'm really torn about what happens with Black Noir in Season 3, because I felt like there was probably more that could have been done with him, and he was so mysterious, and I was always curious to learn more about him, and then the second we start learning more about him, they do what they did, and it's like man. It's kind of unceremonious, too, at the same time. Like, maybe that was the point. Like, they wanted it to come right the hell out of nowhere and just be really shocking, and it definitely was. But I felt like he deserved like a bigger moment than that. I don't know. I'm very torn about it. All right, let's get this going. So we'll do we'll do the review, and then we'll do super chats. We'll get to some comments, and then we'll call it a night, because I really do need to try to get to bed early tonight. Don't know how I'm going to sleep, because it is humid as fuck right now. But we'll see. Anyway, The Boys Season 3. In my opinion, best season yet. I think it was the best for the characters, the best for like the show's narrative overall. It got the biggest laughs, easily the biggest laughs. And what impressed me so much was how the writers are able to go to so many different extremes in terms of comedy, drama, and just flat out outrageous shit, and not only make it all work in context, but make it look easy. Like, there's a scene where MM literally pulls on your, really pulls on your heartstrings as he explains his backstory that was, hinted at in Season 2. How this, some really tragic shit happened to him. Really puts himself out there and exposes how vulnerable and how damaged a character he is. In deep down, like a really poignant, effective piece of character work. And then 5 minutes later, you see the Deep fucking an octopus. Those things happen in the same episode. I don't know how it works, but somehow it just works. Beats the hell out of me how they did that. But this is the kind of shit that Thor Love and Thunder tried to do and really failed at, quite frankly. But, here, you just buy it, because this is the way the world they've created works. And it's not just MM who gets stuff like that. This might have been, the best season for most of the characters. Frenchie and Kimiko get a lot of big moments. They somehow managed to work in, musical numbers into this thing, somehow. Again, it's something that shouldn't work, but somehow just does. And that's kind of baffling, because that's something I read in an article, because Taika Waititi wanted to do a musical dance number with Gore the God Butcher, and I'm like, oh my god, thank Christ that didn't make the final cut. Here, the boys, they did a musical number, and somehow it works. They did everything Thor Love and Thunder was trying and failing to do, and they made it look easy. Unbelievable. So, Frenchie, Kimiko, that relationship reaches a kind of a pivotal stage. Huey has to grapple with a lot of personal stuff because, he's constantly coming into conflict with Soups, who he's like an insect compared to. All these gods among men who are always trying to kill him, and he just feels he feels powerless against them, and he's also dating one of them too, and that dredges up a lot of old insecurities and preys on a lot of things, and it's a really clever insight into something that like anyone in that situation probably would be feeling to some extent. A-Train has to come to terms with the fact that he might not be able to run anymore, so he has to try to reinvent himself, which inevitably goes horribly wrong. And we also... He also has to grapple with what kind of person he really is. Like, how much does he care about this thing compared to how much is he really in it for the money? More often than not, he's just in it for the money. Like, he's a guy who keeps making he keeps getting presented with the same decision, and he keeps making the wrong choice in different ways, like every season. So eventually something's gonna have to crack with that. Maeve is just completely fucking done with everything and might not even want to live anymore. Kind of sucks that we didn't see more of her in Season 3, but she gets a really good moment in the finale. But the really exciting stuff is with Butcher and Homelander. I saw real shades of the Butcher from the comics this season. Now, if you haven't read the comics, that version of Billy Butcher was more ruthless in a way that I can't really go into without spoiling something. But he had this goal of taking down all the Soups, and nothing was more important than that at the end of the day. And we see shades of that here. Like, Butcher toys with going to a really dark place. Well, a darker place, anyway. And I think Comics Butcher was more at ease with that choice. In the show, he's a lot more conflicted about it. That makes for good drama, so that's cool. And he does some really underhanded stuff. To the point where he almost felt like he was becoming the villain. Like there were moments when I thought, is he becoming worse than Homelander? I don't know. I mean, he's going down a dark path here. Because he knows he's got to get his hands really dirty to take Vought down, and he's got to ask himself how far he's willing to go to do that. Turns out it's pretty fucking far. Maybe not too far, but it's fucking far. And it's not an easy thing for him. And they're still able to pull him back at the end of the day. Unbelievable. But the star of the show is still Homelander. This guy could end up being one of the all-time great TV villains when this show finishes. Like, what a character this guy is. Homelander is. I don't know how they do this, but every season I tell myself that Homelander couldn't possibly get more despicable than he is right now, and every season they prove me wrong. Every season he gets worse. But here's where the extremes come back, because not only is he more despicable than he's ever been this season, he's also the most vulnerable. Like, the writers keep finding ways to give us little insights into his character so that even with as awful as he is, you kind of feel sorry for him sometimes. Like, he does have little specks of humanity in there, but at every turn it's like all the stars are aligning to just stamp that humanity out. But there's still just enough in there to make you lament the person that Homelander maybe could have been if things had been very different. I mean, there's a scene in the finale where you're actually rooting for him for a minute. Like, I couldn't believe it. I didn't think that was possible, but they did it. I was like, oh my god, I'm actually on Homelander's side right now. It's a pretty crazy twist, but it all makes sense in the story because, I mean, they built up to that all season long. They really earned that moment, and then the moment passes and he goes back to being horrible. Like, there are a lot of twists like that this season, and some of them get really crazy. I mean, there were so many moments that made me jump out of my seat or made me yell out like, holy shit! Like, these... I mean, this season literally starts with something like that. Like these writers are redefining superhero satire, and then they're so smart about it. Like the opening scene of the season is a play on that fan theory about how Scott Lang could have killed Thanos by shrinking down, entering his body, and then exploding him from the inside. They do something like that, but it's so much dirtier and nastier than you could imagine. Like, I was cringing in my seat, kind of watching it from the cracks in between my fingers. I couldn't believe what they were doing. And then it happened. I almost had to turn away. It was so... it was so fucking brutal. And there's even more stuff like that with Soldier Boy, played by Jensen Ackles, who's fantastic. Like, he's kind of their version of Captain America, who was Vought's poster boy before Homelander came along. He's so cool. It's like if Captain America took off the rose-colored glasses and put on shit-stained glasses instead. Like in true The Boys fashion, he's just a complete fucking mess. Like he's a total mean-spirited prick with a ton of antiquated viewpoints about society and a lot of things. Lots of hilarious social commentary in there. But he's also got tons of PTSD, and he's a man out of time and doesn't understand the modern world. So they have a lot of fun with that. There was a line referencing Bill Cosby that just had me rolling. Because he's been on ice for many years, so he doesn't know what happened with that. I mean, he's one of the best parts of the season. Like, one, because he's a great character. Two, he's also got some unexpected connections to some of the other characters that I didn't see coming, though in retrospect I really should have. Again, just brilliant satire, and there's also some really dirty stuff in there, too. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because once they get to herogasm, oh my god. The shit that goes down in herogasm, I can't believe Amazon let them get away with this. This was absolutely filthy in the best way possible. You see a naked Soup walking around with his junk on fire. MM gets blasted with like 10 gallons of cum. The Deep doing unspeakable things with marine life. It is insane, the stuff that goes down here. I can't remember the last time I laughed so hard. My sides hurt during this. And it's not just done for shock value. That's the crazy thing. Like, it's all there for story. I mean, yes, some of it is just for shock value, but still, I mean, there is a story in there. I mean, it's all building up to an awesome scene that's like, it's the equivalent of the girls get it done scene from season 2. Like, the guys get a moment like that here, and it's something the show had been building up to since the series began. And that's actually a big theme this season. This is where we started to see like how this has all been one big story. From the beginning, the writers had a plan for how the show would play out. They've been setting up those dominoes the whole time. Now we're seeing the dominoes start to fall. Like, stuff happens this season that they can't take back. Like, the stakes are only getting higher, so there's a sense that the show is building up to some kind of huge payoff. And I don't know how long it's going to take to reach it, but there's a ticking clock now. So that's really going to heighten the sense of urgency in everything that happens from this point on. Just really, really great stuff. There is one thing, though. It's not a complaint exactly, but it is something I'm a little wary of as the show goes forward. And that's the politics. Now, realistically, the show has always, done political commentary. It's a political satire, too, in a lot of ways. And you might not have noticed that, or maybe you just didn't care because it was so entertaining and it didn't go woke or anything. But before the season started, I read an interview from the showrunner, Eric Kripke, where he flat out said, Homelander is Donald Trump. Like, he is a Donald Trump analog. And I didn't know how to process that because I'd never gotten that impression before. Like, maybe it was too subtle and I just didn't pick up on it. Maybe it was something else. Well, it's not subtle anymore. And I think it's only going to get less subtle from here because there's this subplot about a presidential election coming up. And the moment where it really hit me was when Homelander, it's toward the end of the season, I forget which episode, but Homelander is talking to a crowd of his fans, and in the background you can see an extra deliberately dressed up like that QAnon shaman wacko from the January 6th insurrection. And I thought to myself, oh my god, how did I not see what they were doing until just now? They were doing this right under my nose, and I never noticed it until now. And then I started noticing all these other things about Homelander, like his vanity, his insecurity, his cruelty, and I'm like, holy shit, the writers are using him to comment on Trump, aren't they? And ordinarily, I'm against shows doing this. I like them to stay apolitical, because when you pick a side, you're naturally going to alienate the other side. And, why alienate a portion of your audience? That's stupid. Or if you have to pick a side, at least make it subtle enough that the audience doesn't pick up on what you're doing, which the writers were pulling off very effectively, in my opinion, until this season. Now, it's very clear what they're doing. Now it's very clear what they're doing. Now it is. And I'm going to wait and see how it plays out, because the writing's been so good up until now. But as Homelander continues his descent into madness, becomes a more and more irredeemable sociopath as he continues to be enabled and encouraged by his fans who are now very clearly meant to represent the MAGA crowd, like the Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, and all those people. Like just an extreme satirized version of Republicans in general, basically. I worry that the political angle is going to become so overt in the future that an agenda starts to creep in. And once that happens, watch out. Like I said, I'm more than willing to roll with it because Homelander is such an awesome character. But I've seen what happens to other shows, lesser shows, when the writers have a political agenda that starts influencing things. I'm not too worried about it though, because the show is so smart and the writers are clearly very self-aware about this stuff. It's just something to keep an eye on. And it's not like the comics didn't get political anyway, so maybe this was inevitable. But yeah, I mean, barring that, I mean, The Boys Season 3 was fantastic. I mean, I laughed, I fist-pumped, I was horrified at times. The storytelling was the best yet. We see new sides of the characters that we didn't know were there. The characters become, we see the cracks in them. We see a lot of vulnerabilities that feel new, but really were always there. They do some of the most outrageous shit they've ever done. And frankly, the most outrageous shit I've ever seen in a TV show. They're going to bigger and bigger extremes each time out, and somehow it all just fits so beautifully. Like, the show is great. Like, the wait for season 4 is really gonna suck. I think they're actually starting to be getting production on it pretty soon. So hopefully the wait for season 4 won't be as long. Because it feels like it was 2 years or something between 2 and 3. And that sucked. I don't know I'm not sure what took them so long, but I don't know. Fingers crossed we won't have to wait for season 4 that long. Anyway. Let's see what you guys thought about season 4. Feather Guardian. Please no Love and Thunder spoilers. Okay, well, I'll try not to spoil anything about Love and Thunder. Of course, my Love and Thunder review went up this morning. Go watch that now, if you haven't. Sorry you had to watch Thor Love and Thunder. What a train wreck of a movie. Oh, boy. Yeah, not the movie I was hoping for. But was anybody else really missing Loki? I mean, at first I was disappointed that they couldn't fit him in there somewhere, but then I thought, everything else was. I mean, they missed the mark on so many things with that movie. Maybe it's a good thing Loki wasn't in there. You know. They don't like your honesty about Ms. Marvel. Well, what can you do? You're not going to please everybody. I always point out the stuff I like about Ms. Marvel. Look, I'm honest about that. Look, I like the cast. I like the girl playing Kamala. And the problems come down to like the writing and the pacing. But if I see something I like in there, I'll point it out. I don't have a problem with that. Let's see. This. The way this chat room works always pisses me off because it'll let a lot of comments build up and then it'll just post to all of them at once. So I'm constantly losing my place there, my place in this thing. Let's see. I hope and pray Black Noir is alive. Homelander was right. He was better than A-Train, Deep, and Ashley combined. I don't know. I mean, Homelander is pretty good at killing people. I think if Black Noir was still alive, he'd probably know. Yeah, I knew Homelander was going to kill Black Noir, but at the least I thought Noir would be in the final fight before that happened. In hindsight, I probably should have seen that death coming. Because when they did that, when Homelander gave him that hug in an earlier episode, called him pal, it's like, oh, this is the one guy that Homelander actually likes. I should have known what was coming at that moment, because like that's just something Homelander would do. This is the path he's on. Like they're very slowly killing every speck of humanity in him. Or maybe he's killing it himself. MM is extremely tragic, and this is his season. Yeah. Yeah, I love the stuff with him and Soldier Boy. Man, I would not have expected Herogasm to be as poignant as it was. Like, when he's talking about, the incident that led to him becoming OCD, I'm like, oh, wow, that's some really... Yeah, that's surprisingly, sensitive stuff. Because I know a little bit about about the OCD thing. I mean, I kind of went through a phase of that myself, actually. So, I get it. And it's learning how he became that way. My God, that's a pretty horrific story. And then they go to Herogasm, and then look, Soup's dick is on fire. A 10-gallon cum shot. He opens the door to the bathroom. There's the 10-gallon money shot that just comes blasting at him. It's like, how are these things in the same show? I don't get it. I don't know how it works, but it just does. They significantly backtracked the Deep. This man was being put through the ringer in the last 2 seasons like he was literally sexually assaulted, and he just went right back to season 1 self. In a way, maybe. I think it's kind of the same situation as A-Train, where they want to explore these characters, but maybe not necessarily redeem them. Like Deep, he did a bad thing. He got taken to task for it, and he went through the ringer because of it. And in the end, maybe maybe the tragic part is that he didn't learn his lesson. Or maybe he's just not a great person, and in the end he valued his fame and fortune more than doing the right thing. It's kind of the same thing with A-Train. Like, he's killed people to protect his fame and his brand. He even killed his girlfriend, who he professed to love, because she'd become problematic for that. And I love that scene where after Blue Hawk injured his brother, left his brother paralyzed in a wheelchair, and he's like, and A-Train goes to Ashley, he's like, look, my brother's paralyzed, I want some fucking justice. And she's like, who the fuck do you think you are? I have been working my ass off to cover up your shit, because you've murdered several people, you murdered your own damn girlfriend, you've done all these horrible things, and now you're saying you want justice because a horrible thing happened to you? Get the fuck out of my office, you piece of shit. And she just calls him on it, and he's got nothing to say, because he knows he's a fucking hypocrite. And then he does take out Blue Hawk. You could argue that he did it the wrong way, and then by some fluke of happenstance, it ends up benefiting him. And again, he's presented with a choice. Well, do I do the? I have a second chance to start doing the right thing here. So do I want to start doing the right thing, or do I just sell out and take the money? And he sells out and takes the money, because that's who he is. He's a guy who keeps making the wrong choice. And I guess it's a similar thing with the Deep. He did bad things. He went through some shit for it. Now he's got a second chance, and he's going back to doing bad things. I think with Deep, it's more of a case that he's afraid to stand up to Homelander. Whereas with A-Train, it's more of a case of him just being a little too attached to money and his fame and his brand. So there's different reasons for both, but they're two guys that keep making the wrong choice. I think that's the story. It's not about them. It's not about Deep regressing as a character. It's just, I think that's just who he is, ultimately. Season 3 is better than Season 2, but the finale of Season 3 is the only bad episode of The Boys. Really? Well, you'll have to explain that one to me. Oh, I very much disagree. I loved all the twists and turns in that one. I was astonished that they actually had Butcher and Homelander team up against Soldier Boy, when it was the 2 episodes before that, it was Butcher and Soldier Boy teaming up against Homelander. You'd think it wouldn't work, but the twist there, all the twists there with Ryan and finding out that they're related and stuff, they made it work. It worked for me. I don't agree with that. I'd like to hear your reasons for it, though. Let's see. Todd Taylor. Anthony Starr doing an awesome job. When you really hate or love a character, that's great acting. Like the way Jack Gleason played Joffrey. Oh, yeah. Although, you know, Joffrey, I think, was more irredeemable than Homelander. Homelander has more layers to him. Like, Joffrey was mostly just an awful person. Homelander, he's got moments when you can see that he had a chance at being a good person at one point. I mean, he does seem to genuinely care about his son in his own twisted way. Let's see. I don't know how people forgot Homelander as a literal rapist and murderer. Soldier Boy was never revealed to be anywhere near as bad. Well, yeah, again, but that's the mark of great writing. Because they were different in one aspect. And that one aspect was enough to kind of turn the tables and, like, yeah, that one thing was enough to kind of flip over that table that put Butcher and Homelander, like, momentarily on the same side. Let's see. Is it just me, or is it seeing Ryan is either becoming Soldier Boy or Black Noir? I don't think so. I mean, I kind of think Ryan might become like a Superboy analog, possibly, or like a Jonathan Kent analog, maybe. Let's see. Homelander does have humanity and sympathy, but in the end, he's an unstable psychopath, and that's everything wrong with America, and is becoming more insane, clever, and dangerous each season. Agreed? Feather Guardian. And do you think Homelander is the son of Soldier Boy and Stormfront? I don't think so. Boy, that'd be fucked up if he was, huh? Jesus Christ. I think if he was Stormfront's son, we would have probably known. I don't think they would have killed her off without revealing that. So, I mean, I suppose it's possible, but that'd feel like a big missed opportunity if they killed her off before revealing that, so I kind of doubt it. Let's see. See, it makes no sense why the Deep gets head from an octopus. Do you mean like, do you mean it makes no sense mechanically, or it makes no sense why he would want it? Because, I mean, I'm not sure about either. I just know that it's really fucking funny. See, LOL when MM is like, it's sticky, get it off me, go to the bathroom. Dude, that moment in Herogasm, I laughed so fucking hard I almost pissed myself. See, the political stuff is pointed. I think it's funny, but it's very deliberate and cringy misleading. I don't know. I don't think the political stuff is misleading. I mean, now that I think back, it was pretty obvious the direction they were heading in the whole time. I think I just didn't see it. The fact that I didn't see it means they were being subtle about it. Like I said, it's getting much less subtle now. So that may turn some people off. I don't know. I think the show has built up enough goodwill by now that they won't have that problem. But they are being very very clear about who is representing who now, and who is an analog for who and whatnot. So. I mean, as long as the quality of writing doesn't slip, I don't see it becoming a big issue. But it is something to watch out for. Let's see. If superhumans aren't afraid of Homelander, they can defeat him. Since Butcher, Huey, Soldier Boy, and Maeve shows that John isn't as invincible as they all thought. I mean, that's true. I mean, we saw some chinks in Homelander's armor here. You know, if enough soups team up on him, they can, they can hurt him at least. Now, I guess the trick is finding a weapon that can actually take him down. And Soldier Boy could conceivably do it, but they can't really rely on him. So that's kind of off the table now. So I mean, they can potentially beat him if they got enough soups to team up, but they got to find the soups who are willing to do that. Yeah, they skewer everyone. Look at the way they poked at the Imagine Gal Gadot, the Pepsi ad spoof. That was a genius. That is what's genius with this show. No, absolutely. I mean, they are taking like a lot more shots at the right wing, but I mean, nobody is safe. Like they'll make fun of everybody. Yeah. If Homelander's getting more unstable and insane each season, if he betrays Ryan and Ryan, if Ryan sees the monster that he truly is, will that be the last straw that he will snap? All right, a little bit of a word salad there. I am worried about Ryan. I think that'll be the last straw. That'll be a show that Homelander is like truly like completed his journey into just like an unrelenting monster. Like if he did something to Ryan, like what Ryan's like the one connection he still has to his humanity now. If he were to do something to Ryan, like maybe God forbid kill Ryan, that's like the end of the road for him. But yeah, that'll be the last straw. Like the last connection to his humanity has been severed at that point. And we have another super chat. 1 second. Pool Stroke. Thank you for the $4.99. Are you looking forward to Sonic 3 with Shadow in it? I'm just looking forward to Sonic 3 in general. I don't really know much about Sonic outside of those early games, and the cartoons back in the day. So I mean, I haven't played a lot of the recent games. So I'm not really up to speed with all the lore and stuff. So I think Shadow was... I think Shadow came along after I kind of stepped away from that franchise. But I'm just excited for Sonic 3 in general. Because, I mean, the first one was good, second one was great. They're doing it right. They're proving that video game movies can be good. So, we need more Sonic movies. As long as they can keep getting Jim Carrey back. I think he said something about wanting to retire from acting. But if these movies keep making lots of money, they can keep throwing money at Jim Carrey. I think they can keep getting him back. Because he really is the star of those movies. Let's see. Favorite celebrity cameo in season 3? Seth Rogen one was hilarious. Yeah, that was probably my favorite too. Again, I'm trying to remember all the cameos. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of them. The Seth Rogen one was really funny, though. It took them 2 years because they filmed all of Season 2 before the pandemic, and Season 3 filming happened during COVID. Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the pandemic really did screw a lot of things up, didn't it? And check out the VOT International YouTube channel. Am I not subscribed to that one? Thought I was. Connect to the internet? You're offline? What? Weird. VOT International YouTube channel. Come on. There we go. Huh. I'm actually not subscribed. Well, I am now. Alright, thanks for that. Didn't know that was a thing. You guys think Ryan is going to go Brightburn next season? Well, they definitely teased that. I mean, I think they're going to toy with that idea. I think season 4 is going to be about Butcher trying to save Ryan from turning out like his dad. The question is whether or not Ryan survives that. Like I said, I mean, if they were to actually do a situation where Homelander ends up killing Ryan, all bets are off at that point. Let's be honest, if any of us had Homelander's powers, we'd probably be just as bad as he is. Maybe not at first, but we'd eventually turn out like him. I don't know about that. I mean, they've established that Homelander is the way he is because, you know, he wasn't raised in a loving environment. Because he was, you know, he grew up in this very cold, sterile. He had this very cold, sterile upbringing. He was raised by like doctors in a lab. He never really had parents or people to teach him right from wrong, or, you know, give him like, or letting him grow up normally. I think I forget which character it was, but they said that he should have grown up with a family and stuff instead of the way he was raised. And it's the nature versus nurture argument. I mean, they're trying to make a case that the nurture thing, or the lack of nurturing, actually, is why Homelander is the way he is. And like I said, like the powers don't make you who you are. The powers don't make the man. The powers just reveal the man. You know, they just make you more of what you already were. So it's not the powers that made him evil. It's the upbringing. Does Amazon MM not have the problem he has in the comics? If not, why is he called MM? Because those are his initials, I guess. And it's a nod to the comics without giving him the same problem that he has in the comics, because, oh my god. I gotta be honest, I would not want them to adapt that, because that scene in the comics scarred me for life. I like the scene where Soldier Boy mocks Homelander for his cape and then later pulls him brutally to the ground with it. Well, yeah, that's why Edna Mode said in The Incredibles, no capes. They did a whole bit with that. No fucking capes. Capes are bad. Capes will kill you. She wasn't kidding. I mean, misleading, like Homelander killed a guy and Trump didn't. Homelander was lying about it being okay to go out. Trump wasn't. That's what I mean by misleading. Well, I don't know how misleading it really was. You know, Trump once said that he could shoot a guy on Fifth Avenue, and no one would care, or something like that. I don't remember the exact quote, but I mean, he said something like that. And then Homelander literally just murders a guy, lasers him to death in front of a crowd of people, and they all cheer him for it. So it's kind of the same thing. What I was wondering about was like how does he get away with that legally? Like he did just murder somebody. Is nobody going to bring him up on charges for this? Like where are the authorities? Like, shouldn't the government be marching into Vought and say, hey, your guy just committed murder. What are we going to do about this? So is that not a thing? Like, how does he just escape accountability? Because, I mean, he did just murder somebody. Everyone saw it. And somehow we're just letting this go? Like, I didn't understand that. Maybe it'll come up in Season 4. Who knows? Let's... Who do you think will ultimately take him out? Well, Billy Butcher, I would expect. How he does it, I couldn't tell you. Maybe they'll all team up. I mean, they show this season that they can overcome Homelander if enough soups team up on him. Maybe it'll be a situation like that. Would you review Westworld Season 4? You know, I'm not really watching Westworld. I kind of missed the boat on that. Didn't watch it when it didn't watch the first season when it was on. I binged it later on. It was interesting. I had some trouble getting into it. Season 2, I had more trouble getting into that. After that, I was kind of done. I didn't watch Season 3. Not really interested in Season 4. It's I don't know. Just not really my thing. What if Grace finds a cure for Soldier Boy as he's an anti-Compound V and ends Voss creation? Yeah, potentially. I mean, Soldier Boy is still alive. And there's got to be a reason why they're keeping him in play. He's just off the board right now, so... And that could play into it. Will you please do the Gotham Knights game review in November before the season is... well, you know, I don't have any of the new game systems. You know, don't have a PS5 or anything. I never even got a PS4, to be honest. Yeah, I just couldn't justify the expense. Sadly, I still can't. So, probably not. Kind of sucks though, because there are a lot of new games that I'd like to play. I mean, I really wanted to play Spider-Man PS4. Never got a chance to do that. Heard it was really good. But I really need to get that Patreon set up, don't I? Oy. And the Teespring store too. I've got like so many ideas for merchandise. I even designed a couple of them. I've never gotten around to finishing that. I always find excuses not to do it. Right. Will you watch The Boys spin-off when it comes out? I'll give it a shot. I am a little concerned that it's not being handled by the same team. But you know, hopefully Eric Kripke will at least like oversee everything. But yeah, I'll give it a shot. Will you review Rings of Power and House of the Dragon? Probably. I've never been like a Lord of the Rings guy outside of the movies. So I really don't know much about the lore. But as I understand it, they're not really taking much from the lore anyway. And that show seems like such low-hanging fruit. I mean, I kind of have to. So yeah, I'll talk about it. I may not know. I may not. Some of the details about how it's going against the lore may escape me. But I'll probably do something on it. House of the Dragon. You know, wow. I'll probably talk about House of the Dragon, but man, I don't care. I think about that. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, after the way Game of Thrones ended, it's like, did we need more of this? Like a Targaryen prequel? It's like, do we need this? I just don't care. We'll see. Again, it's pretty low-hanging fruit, so I don't know how I can avoid it, but wow, it's just, I have no interest in that show for some reason. Butcher needs to save Ryan before it's too late, as he will keep Becca's promise, and he's like the last thing he'll do before he's gone. Probably. Yeah, that's Butcher's arc now. He's got to keep his promise to Becca, save Ryan. So I don't think Ryan will die. I do think a time will come when Homelander turns on Ryan, though. Yeah. You're overthinking it. Okay. How does he get away with it? Do you want to be the one to try to arrest Homelander? Well, no, I understand it in that sense. But, my thing is, like, why did the authorities do nothing? Like do nothing about, okay, maybe it'll happen next season. Again, we don't know. But, like, like, realistically, the U.S. government would be watching Vought very carefully and trying to come up with some kind of a deterrent in the event that one of their superheroes just went off the deep end and turned to evil or what have you. Like all these gods among men flying around the place, the government would want something on their side to combat this if it ever became a threat. The idea that they don't have anything like that is just, I don't know. It seems unlikely. So I wish they had at least addressed that, like at least say that the government is observing the situation, and they know that something has to be done about Homelander. They just don't, and maybe they just don't have anything that can stand up to him. But at least it would show us that the government is at least aware of the threat. They know he killed someone out in public, and they know that something has to be done about him. They just don't have something to do. They don't have a method to stop him yet, but they are at least like observing the situation. Just something like that would be fine. Let's see. Okay, Strike, excuse me. Striker X24, thank you for the super chat. The voice felt politically left-driven. Well, I think it's more left-driven than right-driven, but I mean, they've taken shots at the left, too. I would say it's left-leaning more than left-driven. But I mean, no one is safe. I mean, they take pot shots at everybody. Excuse me. There's another one I missed. I'm sorry. MKF30. Thank you for the super chat. Do you think the Black Hawk A-Train stuff was forced? I mean, Blue Hawk. Blue Hawk A-Train was forced. Not really. I mean, that was kind of a big thing going on in the country at the time when they were shooting it. And this is a show that likes to be very topical. So, I mean, when you think about all the stuff going on with George Floyd and all the noise that created, I mean, I think that was just them trying to comment on stuff like that in their own way. forced. I didn't get that impression. I mean, it definitely was more pointed than some of the other stuff they do. I thought what made it kind of a little more even-handed is that you had A-Train involved in that whole mess, and this is A-Train is a black man who is consistently making all the wrong decisions. So it shows that nobody's immune from the harsh realities of this thing. Now you have a white guy being an asshole, but then you have a black guy who's also being an asshole. So the upshot is that everybody's an asshole. Was it forced? Yeah, I don't think it was that much more forced than anything else. It was just a little more obvious than the stuff usually is. Let's see. Have you decided how you're going to review She-Hulk, video or live stream? I haven't decided yet. I figure I'll watch the first episode and then we'll see. Right now I'm thinking live stream, but it kind of depends on the schedule. Because like I said, when we started this the stream tonight, episodes dropping on Wednesday are really awkward for my schedule because new movies tend to come out like on Thursday evening, or new shows on streamers tend to drop on Friday. So Wednesday is a really awkward night because doing those long form episodic reviews take me a couple days. Because that's why I drop the Ms. Marvel videos on Saturday, because I'm working pretty continuously to make that thing during that whole time after the episode drops. Because I have to write the video, which takes a while. Shooting it, that takes a while. Editing it takes even longer. So it's a whole process. And when Batwoman was dropping new episodes on Sunday, that worked great because it fit the schedule. I had a couple days to do that, and then I could go right into I could do a movie review and get that out edited over the weekend. And now, when the episode drops on Wednesday, then everything is mixed up and everything's a rush. I'm doing two things at once, and the movie review comes out late. So I'm thinking I'll probably stream it because that's a lot easier and it takes much less time. But it's up in the air. I'll watch the first episode and then I'll make a decision. And we have another super chat. Green Entertainment, thank you for the $5. Have you read the Invincible comics, and do you like Robert Kurtzman? I've read some of them. After Invincible Season 1, I found them online, and I read the first couple volumes. Wasn't wild about the art. The art was pretty crude. There's a really interesting story in there. I think Season 1 kind of covered the best stuff. I didn't read all the way through, but the stuff that came after it was less compelling to me, so I'm not sure how Invincible Season 2 is going to play out. But there's a lot of cool stuff in there, so I'm not too concerned. Robert Kurtzman? Yeah, I don't know too much about Kurtzman. Never really got into The Walking Dead. He was doing that forever. Well, it's done now, I guess. But so yeah, never really saw what the big deal was with that. I watched the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead. It's just not my thing. So I don't like all his stuff. I do really love the Invincible TV show though. Bro, if Homelander turns on Ryan, we're gonna have an Omni-Man versus Invincible coup all over again. But can we please end the argument of Homelander versus Omni-Man? Look, Homelander's a great character, but Omni-Man would floss his teeth with that guy. Personally glad that you saved me money by not going to see the pathetic, hollow excuse for a film. I'm glad I could help out. Excuse me. Did Natalie Portman get jacked for Love and Thunder, or was it all CG? You know, she worked out, but they added CG. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure myself. I think I saw an interview somewhere where they said it was all Natalie Portman, which struck me as unlikely. If they enhanced her with CG, that makes more sense, I think. The one thing that shocked me in the finale was the Maeve versus Homelander fight when Maeve made Homelander bleed, even discombobulated one of his ears. Yeah? It's probably the most injured he's been so far. So it can be done. What Victoria did to her daughter is unforgivable and messed up, as she's planning something similar to Stanley Yeager. Like Butcher said, that female dog has to go. Yeah, it's crazy that we don't see what happened to the daughter, isn't it? That was one of the big cliffhangers. Like she injects her and then we just don't see her after that. So what's going to be the reveal there? I kept waiting for that, and it just doesn't come up. Like, oh, you bastards. She-Hulk has 9 episodes, huh? Alright, so they'll probably be shorter than the typical ones like WandaVision was. Alright. Nine episodes. Thorias will have a stroke. Oh boy. You know, my hope for She-Hulk is that it's at least it's at least a funny train wreck. I'm not expecting it to be good, but if it's at least entertainingly bad, that'd be okay. But yeah, I mean that trailer, whew, wow. Still not over that thing. Are you looking forward to watching and reviewing Gotham Knights? Looking forward to it. Did you see the state of me after the Batwoman reviews? Does that look like does that look like something I'm looking forward to going back to? Not really. Hopefully, reviewing that'll be as lucrative as it was for that reviewing Batwoman was. Because yeah, I mean, think the even the trailer reaction for Gotham Knights did pretty well. I think what is it up to now? What the hell is it? Yeah, 28,000 and change for the trailer reaction. That's probably my most viewed trailer reaction video. With any luck, videos on that will do well in views. So that I'm looking forward to. The actual process of reviewing them, not so much. I think Anthony Starr should play the Reverse Flash. You know, I had that same thought. He does play a good bad guy. She was holding her own against him, making me wonder why she was so scared of him for 3 seasons. Well, it helps that, you know, Maeve didn't care if she died at that point. You know, remember there was an earlier scene where she was talking to Starlight about how she was, you know, hopefully she'd be able to hold Homelander off to give Butcher an extra second or two to use the weapon, whatever the weapon was. And Starlight's like, well, what about you? Wouldn't that kill you too? And she just shrugs and walks away. It's like, they got over the fact that Maeve really didn't care if she lived or died at that point. So when that's the headspace you're in, there's not much that's going to scare you. So at that point, Maeve is just, okay, oh, fuck it. If he kills me, he kills me, but I just want to put a hurt on this motherfucker while I'm still here. I think that's why. Shit. Is Maeve gone for good? I doubt it. I mean, her character was kind of finished off, but they can always bring her back. Let's see. In the comics, Huey takes out Butcher. With the show changing things, I wonder if that'll happen, or if they'll change Butcher's death, because unless he can cure the Temp V, the dude is a goner. I don't think that's the direction they'll go. I mean, they kind of showed that Butcher was more protective. At least in the end, he was protective of Huey, because he reminded him of his brother. So he had the chance to use Huey, in which case the Temp V would have killed him, but he said, you know what, no, I can't do it. So he leaves Huey behind, so Huey will stay alive. Which, of course, the comics ended with Butcher trying to kill him, so I think that was a sign that TV Butcher is a little bit different, and he will most likely, yeah, I mean, he'll go a different way, I think. I expect the show will end with Butcher dying, which would suck, but it would make sense in the story, so. I think his death will be very different than it was in the comics. Sorry, I'm just looking here if there's anything I still need to go over. Also, I don't understand what one more dose would have done to Huey. Well, it would have killed him. Because Starlight saw, like, the notes in that lab. Like, 3 to 5 doses kills you. So, I'm not sure how many doses Huey took. I think it was 2 or 3. So he was borderline. So, one more dose probably would have done him in. Alright, or why Huey is okay, but maybe he's not. Well, maybe. We don't know if there's any long-term effects. Something I was wondering about was maybe Huey would take like the real Compound V. I was theorizing about this, like brainstorming, how will the finale go? And I thought, well, maybe he'll take so much of the Temp V that it'll come close to killing him, but they'll save him by injecting him with the real stuff. Because remember, Starlight took a whole bottle of the Compound V out of the lab, and they gave Kimiko 1 shot, but there was still some left. So they've still got the real Compound V there, and we don't know what they're gonna do with that. So I mean, it's conceivable, and maybe Huey could take the real stuff and become like a soup permanently. We don't know. Pretty sure we won't have to suffer Ezra Miller as the Flash for much longer. Oh, hell no. He's done. Ezra Miller will never work in show business again. No, he's gone. The only reason they haven't like officially kicked him to the curb yet is because he's still, he's because they're still sitting on a $200 million movie where he's playing multiple roles and is in almost every scene. So, Warner Brothers is stuck with him for a while. Once the Flash movie is in their rear view, he's done. He is absolutely done. Have you seen the Terminal List on Amazon Prime? I haven't seen it. I heard it was really good, though. I have not had a chance to watch it yet. Yeah, Butcher will definitely shoot up with the blue V to get around his mortality issue. Or maybe he'll shoot it up and become a soup permanently, but it won't stop the ticking clock. Maybe he'll still be on borrowed time. We're not sure. But they do still have the blue stuff. Because they only used 1 shot. Isn't Miller in hiding or something? Yeah, they currently do not know where Ezra Miller is. He disappeared with that girl he was grooming, and apparently no one's seen him since. He deleted his social media, and then we found out that he had some kind of house up in I don't know where the hell it was, but apparently he had there were like underage kids up there, and there were like the authorities found guns there or something. It's like I don't know what the hell's going on, but it just gets crazier and crazier the more we find out. Grow a beard, huh? I don't You know, I've toyed with the idea of growing a beard. It's just it's too itchy. I don't like it. So it probably won't happen. The closest I'll come is, growing out my hair again. Life of Nate is cosplaying as me for Halloween. Oh, so you'll be going out in a gray t-shirt and cargo shorts? You do you, man. MKF30 with another super chat. Thank you very much. Who's faster to you, MCU Quicksilver or A-Train? I'm gonna say Quicksilver, because A-Train's whole thing has been about him not being fast enough. That was his whole story in season 1. Like, he had to take Compound V to get faster so he could maintain his brand of being the fastest man alive, but he could only do it when he was juiced up. And then he had like all the heart. Then he had like his heart giving out, so he couldn't run at all. So we don't know how fast he's gonna be now that he's got the transplant. But I'll still say Quicksilver's faster. Hope in the future you do a review of the Terminal List. I could potentially do a stream about it, maybe. I'd have to watch it first, though. And to do that, I'd have to find the time to do it. Not sure when that would happen. I got Ms. Marvel coming up tomorrow, and I'm going to be late watching that because I'm going to be running around, like, driving all over the place, running errands tomorrow before I have a chance to watch it, which is why I've got to go to sleep early tonight. Got to get an early start tomorrow. Then I'll be working on that video up until Saturday, and not sure what there is after that. When does Nope come out? Is that this week, or is it next week? I don't know. It's pretty soon, but I'll probably be doing that one. I don't know. Maybe sometime in between that and before She-Hulk starts up, maybe I can watch the Terminal List. We'll see. What upcoming shows or movies do you think you're going to review? Well, just gave you a couple of them. We got She-Hulk, Nope, possibly the Terminal List. We'll see if there's any demand for that. Nope comes out next week. All right. Thoughts on the upcoming Black Adam movie? I'm just not that interested, really. It's really hard to get interested in anything the DCEU does right now. Also, from minute one, this has always felt more like less like a superhero movie and more like a vanity project for The Rock. Like that initial teaser trailer, where the whole thing was building up to the reveal of, oh my god, it's Black Adam, but Black Adam isn't even that big a character. Like, I don't even know why the hell we're doing a Black Adam movie, and the reason is because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is playing him. That's the only reason. So it wasn't really it wasn't actually a reveal of Black Adam the character. It was a reveal of, hey, look, it's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson playing Black Adam. So, I mean, I like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He's a really likable guy. I'll probably end up seeing the movie, but am I excited for the Black Adam movie? No, not really. Because I'm pretty sure at the end of the day, it's just going to be a vehicle for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Would you do a live stream on Stranger Things 4? Possibly. We're a little past that now. That's another one that kind of slipped through the cracks because Ms. Marvel was just releasing on a bad day. I mean, I could give you my brief thoughts now. Maybe we can end with that. Yeah, so Stranger Things 4. It has kind of a slow start, Stranger Things 4 does. For the first couple episodes, I was like, this feels off for some reason. Because, I mean, the episodes are extra long, and there were more of them, I think. Were there? I don't know. But yeah, the episodes were extra long, and the pacing was a lot slower. And they were introducing more new characters. And every season the cast gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's like, I don't know, it's taken a long time to get moving. So that it was a little bit of a, I don't know, it took a little while to get used to, and some of the plots felt less important than some of the others. Like Eleven getting bullied at her new school, that I don't know, I could kind of take or leave that. Because, you know, one of the things that bugs me about shows and movies is when characters are one-dimensionally just there to be assholes. You see that a lot in horror movies. So, like, the bullies at 11 schools, like, not really digging that. You know, back in Hawkins, the assholes on the basketball team, kind of the same thing with them, although that guy had a little bit more going on. So it took me a little while. Wasn't totally digging it at first, but once the story gets moving, and they bring out all the shit with Vecna and stuff, that's when it gets super interesting. And the reveal at the end, where we find out what's really been the cause of all this stuff, I think there was a little bit of retconning involved, but wow, that reveal was something else, man. It's, and the production values just went up and up and up for that one. I read somewhere that they were spending like $30 million per episode on this season. It almost kind of felt like most of that money went into those last like 3 or 4 episodes. Because holy shit, I mean, the last 2 episodes alone were like 4 hours total. And now I understand why they needed extra long episodes, because there was so much story to cover. Also, interesting. The other day I was watching a video about where the hosts were talking about a potential Friday the 13th or a Nightmare on Elm Street continuation, and one of them thought it was kind of a dead franchise, or maybe they could bring it back or reboot it or something. After Stranger Things 4, I say, if you want to kind of inject some life into Nightmare on Elm Street, give it to the Duffer Brothers and let them make it, because this was basically their take on Nightmare on Elm Street. This was season 4, and it was great. And I continue to be impressed with how they're able to juggle so many characters, because every season the cast gets bigger, and they're really not killing off that many of them. Like, they do, like, once in a while, but, I mean, for the most part, I mean, most of these characters end up sticking around, and they keep figuring out how to juggle everyone and, like, give everyone, like their time to shine and stuff. I mean, certain characters do end up taking a back seat, like we saw this season. Like Jonathan was basically window dressing, and Mike was not nearly as prominent, and Will also not really doing that much. So all the really important stuff was happening in Hawkins, and to a lesser extent in Russia. But I mean, everybody gets their development. Like, every character gets attention. I don't know how they keep figuring out how to do this, but they're juggling pretty much dozens of characters at this point, and everybody gets to shine. Like Lucas, this was a great season for Lucas. I mean, he had a scene in the finale where people were talking about how this kid should be up for an Emmy. Like, his performance was so good. I kind of agreed with him. I think he got snubbed in the nominations, but I mean that was a pretty big snub. And Max had a great season too. I mean, she had some really great monologues in there. You really see a different side of her. And Vecna was so fucking creepy. So fucking creepy. I don't know how they can possibly keep this up, though. Because inevitably the cast is just going to keep growing. So unless they make the final season like triple the size of a normal one, beats me how the hell they're going to do it. And of course, the star of the season, the big standout was Eddie. So of course, spoilers for season 4, Stranger Things, though. Big missed opportunity not keeping Eddie around, because he was so great. Joseph Quinn was so good. I mean, I didn't know what to make of him at first, because it's like, why are we spending all this time on this new character? But I mean, he just kept getting the focus because they wanted to build him up for that big moment at the end, and it worked, because boy did he knock that out of the park. He was such a fun character, and admittedly, that was a death I did not see coming. Because in Volume 1, at the end of Volume 1, I was 99% sure they were setting up Steve to get killed. Because, I mean, okay, all the signs were pointing to Steve getting killed, and maybe that was misdirection, and if so, it was very, very clever misdirection, because it really, I was very sure that something bad was going to happen to Steve. I'm glad it didn't happen, but I'll say this right now, they killed the wrong character. Why are you killing off somebody who's as awesome as Eddie Munson when Nancy and Jonathan are right there? Okay, Jonathan hasn't done anything interesting since season 2. Like I said, pretty much window dressing this season. I mean, clearly this is a character that the Duffer Brothers have kind of lost interest in. Yeah, I think they were really banking on Nancy and Jonathan being like a really fun, interesting like power couple that they want to the show would want to put a lot of stock into. But then they got them together, and it's like, oh my god, they're not a good couple at all. They're actually really boring and bland together. And then also Nancy bugs the hell out of me. I'm sorry. This character is like, they keep trying to paint her as this super like strong like lead female. They're trying to paint her with the super amazing badass brush, and every season past season 1 it's felt less and less credible. It also doesn't help that the actress is probably the weak link in the cast. It's like when she was like running around doing stuff with Robin, I'm like Maya Hawke is like 100% carrying these scenes. The Nancy actress is doing nothing. I mean, she's always just blank-faced and just kind of stoic and whatever, whereas, Robin is just full of personality and just like an absolute delight to be around. It is like, it is such a stark contrast, and it is so obvious that Nancy just has nothing going on in the personality department. And again, I go back to the end of season 3, where it's at the very end. They're outside the mall, and I forget what's going on exactly, but all the characters are in the car freaking out because like there's someone coming right at them, whereas Nancy is just standing outside the car, looking very calm and not showing an ounce of fear. It's like, do an acting, like do an act, please, act afraid, act nervous, do something. Don't just stand there stoically. It's like personality-wise, Nancy has nothing. Like she's a blank slate. There is nothing fucking there. Like I think in their efforts to create a strong, powerful lead female character, they just made a really boring character. And so it bugs me that they are still clinging to this, or to this love triangle of Steve, Nancy, Jonathan. It's like, why? Who wants to see this? I would I would, quote unquote, ship Steve with any other female character before I'd ship it. I want him to be with Nancy. Jonathan too. Like, Jonathan and Nancy were terrible together. Why is this still a thing? Why are we dragging this out? Like, they want to like raise the question of, oh, maybe Nancy will want to go back with Steve. Like, I don't want to see that either. Just split them all up. Put them with different people, or just have them move away or whatever. Like, if season 4 ended with Nancy and Jonathan going off to college and just being gone for the rest of the show, I'd be fine with that. Just get them off the show. They're not interesting characters. Steve was the breakout of that group. Steve can stick around. Just have Steve and Robin, doing stuff together. Fighting monsters together and just being, fun BFFs. And have Dustin along for the ride, too. Just... I don't like Nancy. And Jonathan is no fun. Like, I think, the actors aren't interesting. The characters aren't interesting. They are the weak links of this show. Which is baffling because the rest of the show is so fucking good. So it was good that we didn't spend as much time with Jonathan, or when we did, he was kind of it was like in a group setting with a bunch of other people. And to be fair, his stuff was a little bit funnier because we had Argyle there, and interacting with him was good for a few laughs. Nancy, nothing. So I don't know why they're continuing to drag that out. I don't know what they think is so interesting about that love triangle. It isn't. That's the one part of the show I just don't care about. But yeah, this whole thing with like the Nightmare on Elm Street, again, it kind of off to a slow start because they had to show it how it was affecting characters that I didn't even know. I didn't know why we were focusing on, like Nancy and that kid with the glasses from the newspaper. It's like, why are we spending so much time on this? I don't know. Slow start, but man, does it pick up towards the end. And of course, like, it's starting with like the big reveal with the flashbacks and what happened with Henry and stuff. Everything from then on felt like a big budget movie. But it basically was a big budget movie, just broken up into chunks. It was a little confusing though, what happened. Again, major spoilers here. Because I had to go back and watch those flashback scenes a couple times to really figure out what was going on. Because I wasn't sure, like, what is the connection that Henry has to the Mind Flayer? Like, was the Mind Flayer, like, a separate thing that was somehow empowering Henry? Was it a separate entity? Does it have a will of its own? I wasn't sure. I guess what happened was Henry found, like the particles that they were studying in the Russian prison, and he turned them into the Mind Flayer somehow. I think that's what happened. Again, there's some question marks there, but I guess he transformed them into the Mind Flayer and imbued it with some sort of sentience or some portion of his will, possibly. In fairness, it's not explained very clearly, or maybe there's more to the story still. But yeah, it's. I think there was a little bit of soft retconning in there, but I mean, it all works. Oh boy, what the hell else? God, I don't know, but yeah, I really loved Stranger Things season 4. I mean, the finale, holy shit! I mean, the big 2-part finale, massive tour de force. If this is what the next season, the final season, is going to be like, I don't know how the hell they're going to do this. Because with the way the season ends, it's like, is this what it's going to be like every episode from now on? I mean, they're going to have to double the fucking budget. I mean, and if they were really spending $30 million on a single episode for this season, I mean, Netflix is really going to have to empty the bank on the last one, because holy shit. Is there anything else? Sorry, I went on about season 4 for a while. Was it season 5? I don't remember. Steve is too goated to be in a relationship. You know, the thing about that, I spent the entire previous scene wanting Steve and Robin to hook up, because like their interactions were so much fun, and the actors had so much chemistry together. It's like, oh my god, them not making out is pissing me off. Like, when is this going to happen? Then they do the reveal with Robin, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, I see. And I'm wondering if that was a miscalculation, because I kind of still want them to be a couple. And if the alternative is putting Steve back with Nancy, I'm like, why? Why are you doing this when Steve and Robin are so much fun together? I mean, if you want to stick with Robin being gay and her having a girlfriend and her and Steve just being platonic BFFs, okay, I'm fine with that, but I still kind of want them to hook up. You know, just because, I mean, they worked together so well and their relationship was just so entertaining. So it could have been like a I'm to this day I'm wondering if that was a miscalculation on the writer's part and they just didn't know that they didn't anticipate how much fun Maya Hawke was going to be and how much fun her and Steve were together. I wonder if they knew then what they know now, if they would have still done that. And maybe if they had revealed that Robin is bisexual rather than a lesbian, that could still be on the table. I don't know. They probably can't do it now, but whatever. If they just want, I will take Steve and Robin being platonic, like running around fighting monsters, being platonic BFFs, 10 times out of 10 over Steve and Nancy teasing a reconciliation of that relationship. Like, why? It wasn't fun the first time. I didn't like them together before. And yes, Steve has grown up a lot since then, but I don't want it. I don't want it again. Just go fight monsters with Robin. Leave Nancy somewhere else. I don't care what happens to her. Just leave her off screen somewhere. It looks like Henry created the Mind Flayer, and that's his dream of paradise. Yeah, he made the... Yeah, that's... It took me a while to kind of figure it out, because I wasn't really sure what was going on there at first. I'm still unclear about like, did he create the entire Upside Down? Or was that a thing before? Why would he create it that way? How would he know about all this stuff that was there, like that he never saw? Like I don't know. I'm unclear about how the Upside Down is the way it is, because when he was sent there, it was just a barren wasteland. So how did he turn it into what it is now? Like, did he create that, or was it something else? There's still some unanswered questions there. Will be gone next season. He'll trap Vecna in his body since he has a connection with the Mind Flayer made by Henry, and somehow that will take out Vecna. You know, there are some interesting possibilities with Will next season. I guess, like the really obvious, I guess, like the very obvious way to go with him would be to make him gay, because wow, they definitely teased that a lot. I do wonder if that's misdirection, because it almost feels a little too obvious that he's gay. I mean, obviously Will is definitely holding on to some kind of secret, and you know they were teasing that a lot, like that whole speech to Mike about how it hurts to be different and feel like nobody understands you. There's something there. I mean, it definitely has. They were definitely hinting for the last 2 seasons that Will was gay. Maybe it's something else. I'm not too sure about it. I think a more interesting way to go would be maybe this is to deflect the attention from something else. Like maybe... Because they were definitely hitting that that different word a lot. Will feels different from other people. Maybe this is hinting to... Because of everything Will went through in the first 2 seasons, he now feels like there's like deep down, maybe in a way that he can't really put his finger on, he feels like there is some kind of separation between him and everybody else. And maybe that's why he feels a connection to the Mind Flayer or to Vecna or whatever. Maybe the events of the first 2 seasons have changed Will in a way that he can't really put into words or put his finger on exactly, but in some way or another, he feels different from other people, and that's what he was talking about. And maybe they'll return to that, and maybe that's what this has always been about this whole time, or maybe he's just gay, and maybe that's what it is. I don't know. I feel like my idea is more interesting because I mean they already did the secret gay reveal thing with Robin, so why would they want to do that again? You know, I think it's more interesting if it's something different, but. I mean, who knows what they're going to do? Nancy will probably not make it next season, so she's going to be Vecna's next target after she shot him. Well, I mean, Steve and Robin hit him with Molotov cocktails and stuff. You know, they could have avoided all this if Nancy had just gone for the head. Learn from Thor's mistake, Nancy. Go for the head, you know? Dude, that whole scene, the whole scene when they confronted him, I was like, you've got to... Light his ass up, Nancy. I was yelling at my computer screen. Light the motherfucker's ass up. You've got the gun. Just start blasting away. And she does, and... She doesn't go for the head. Ah, God. God damn it. So, I mean, if I'm Vecna, I'll have a grudge to settle with all 3 of them. Really. Let's see. I wanted Steve and Robin to be together, and to this day it pissed me off that it didn't happen. I mean, it bummed me out that they couldn't be a couple. I understood the story, and, you know, there was character development for Steve that we wouldn't have gotten had that happened. And I do really love their friendship. I love that whole relationship, how they're BFFs now. But, I mean, it kind of bums me out that they can't be a couple, because they just work together so well. So I'm right there with you. To this day, I feel like that was a miscalculation on the writer's part. Maybe they just didn't know how much chemistry those 2 actors would have. Let's see. I love Nancy, but I hate how she can't make up her mind over Jonathan or Steve. Man, I'm over that whole story. I don't want her to be with either guy. I don't like either pairing. You know, I didn't like her and Steve together in season 1. I liked her and Jonathan together even less. I mean, they were... I mean, at least her and Steve together was sort of interesting because it played into the story. Her and Jonathan together, it's like it's boring. I don't want either couple to happen. I just kind of want them all to just split up. He did Will's hair dirty. Yeah, that poor kid cannot get a decent haircut to save his life. Upside Down is like a shadow realm that creates a fragmented memory of their past as Will and Barbara and Eddie enters to that place and explains why Nancy's room is different. Alright, but why was it just a barren wasteland when Henry, entered it for the first time? I don't know. Okay. Is there anything else here? Will could be gay, but I feel like it has to do with all the mess he went through. 11 and Will are the only ones that can potentially stop Vecna Henry 1. Vecna slash Henry slash 1, excuse me. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I mean, it could just be that he's gay. I feel like it's more interesting if it has to do with all the trauma he went through and if he was changed in some way by everything that happened in the first 2 seasons. Because, I mean, if he was completely normal after all that, I would be very surprised. If there's some kind of, like, lingering after effect in there, that he's different because of that whole mess in a way that he can't quite articulate or put into words, that, to me, like, there's a lot more interesting things they can do with that. Do you like Hopper? I feel like he had a good arc this season. Yeah, I like Hopper fine. The whole Russia subplot felt like something that was maybe drawn out a little longer than it needed to. Of course, they did that with a lot of stuff this season. Yeah, there were moments when I felt like we're spending so much time with this character or that character. It's only because they're afraid of killing off anybody in the main cast. But yeah, I mean, I think they could have gotten to the point with the Russia story a little bit quicker than they did. But, you know, that's what happens when you're doing extra long episodes. The Russia was Yeah, I mean, it took a little while to get to the point. I don't think we needed to spend that much time on it, honestly. They could have, I think they could have taken some of that stuff out. In the end, I didn't mind it. It just, I don't know. I don't think they needed to do. It could have been done in less time, basically. Let's see, 11 did accidentally push Henry to the upside down in many dimensions. Without civilization and being a wasteland are possible to exist out there. All right. Okay. See, Will, Mike, and the boys traveling to and walking into Dustin's pen pal girlfriend's house was so weird. I really wondered how exactly they knew where she lived. I think Dustin told them. Yeah, the whole thing with Dustin's girlfriend's house, that whole episode is like, that was one of those times when I was like, do we really need this? Do we need to spend so much time on this? There wasn't any quicker way they could get to 11. Did this really need to be a whole episode? I don't know. I mean, Dustin's girlfriend, they must have some kind of plan for her for the final season. Otherwise, I mean, she's been talked about for 2 seasons. She's been like a thing and for 2 seasons, but only appearing in like only making like special appearances when she needs to. It's like, what is going on with this person? They must have some kind of plan for her. I don't know what it is, but she's going to play some kind of pivotal role later. Otherwise, I'm not sure what the point of her is. Alright, back to the boys. The narrative going on at the end of episode 8 was absolutely off the mark. They tried to make Homelander supporters look like Trump supporters. Well, I don't think it was off the mark. I think that's absolutely the mark they were trying to hit. That's the thing. Like I said, now that I look back on The Boys, like over the entirety of its run so far, it's always been political. It was just less subtle about it before. Now it's impossible to deny. Now they're being very clear. No, Homelander is a Trump analog. He always was. maybe we just didn't notice it immediately. So, no, again, I think that's absolutely what they were trying to do. Yeah, his supporters are Trump supporters. That's what they were always meant to represent. It's a lot more obvious now because, Homelander's becoming more and more unhinged, and they're building up to the end game. Before, Homelander was kind of like in the closet, and still his outside persona was always that he was a good guy superhero do-gooder. Now, he's learning that he can just be himself, and, these crazy extremists will embrace him for it. And those crazy extremists are analogs for Trump supporters. I think that was the point of the whole thing. So, in that sense, I think they hit the mark they were trying to hit. Now, you may not like that mark, and I think it might be a little too pointed, and it's probably going to alienate some people, but that's the mark they were going for. "11 dying would be something, since the next will be the last season." Ironically, the Duffer Brothers, I think they said this before, that the original plan was for 11 to die at the end of season 1. And somewhere along the way, the plan changed. So yeah, I could see this show ending with her dying. I could. Let's see. Ben T2000, can I get a shout out? Love your channel. You inspired me to start a channel. I do gaming content mainly, but still. Yeah. Shout out to Ben T2000. Damn it. Ben T2000. Sorry. Dyslexia. I get names wrong sometimes. Go check out Ben T2000's channel. Gaming content. There you go. And chat disconnected. In the real world, Trump is hated by mainstream politicians, Hollywood, and that's the narrative set. Homelander is made to be the good guy, so it's absolutely confusing. Well, no, his public persona was that of a good guy. Because that was the whole brand that Vought established for him. Now, he's basically in charge of Vought, and he's learning that he doesn't need to project that illusion anymore, because those extremists will embrace him for being the fucked up, horrible person that he is. So, I mean, really, he was always a Trump analog. It was just less obvious because he had to pretend to be someone else. Now he doesn't have to pretend anymore. So, now, and that's where it gets really, really obvious. And, you know what? I think we can probably end it there. Like I said, I gotta try to get up early tomorrow, because I got so much shit to do tomorrow. And that's before I can even watch the Ms. Marvel finale. Are you excited about that? Yeah, me neither. Well, there was no buzz for that finale. None. I'm still seeing more buzz for the boys and Stranger Things than I am for Ms. Marvel. It's like nobody's talking about it. Completely under the radar. I would really love to see the viewership figures on Ms. Marvel, because I haven't seen any outside of the first episode. But I would really love to see if there was some kind of drop-off there. Because, I mean, the buzz has just completely died down. Like, even some of the people who were defending it before are now saying, yeah, it's really, maybe it's not like that. Like, the penultimate episode wasn't that good. They kind of dropped the ball on some things. Maybe the show isn't as good as it started out as, and stuff like that. So, like, the defenders are becoming less enthusiastic. So that's interesting. So yeah, I guess that'll be the next one. Then we got Nope coming up, I think, next week. Maybe we'll have something in the meantime. Maybe the terminal list. I still have to watch that. So I don't know. We'll see. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you to our super chatters. CB750. Thank you. Road Breach. Thank you. Yellow Lantern. Thank you very much. Pool Stroke. Thank you. MKF30. Did I get all these? Did I address all these? Striker X24. Thank you. Green Entertainment. Thank you. Can't talk today. And MKF30. Thank you very much. Thank you to all our people in the chat room. As per usual, once we finish the stream here, it'll be set to private and then move to the live streaming channel in the next day or so. So if you want to listen to it again, that's where it'll be. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. Again, sorry about the short notice, but I wasn't sure if I was going to do this until very early this morning. I wanted to do a proper review. There just wasn't enough time. So hopefully you guys had fun. Thanks for talking to me, and I will see you again very soon. Take care.